The 2025 season is just around the corner, and the top categories of the WEC and IMSA are filled with entries from many prestigious manufacturers. 10 car brands will compete during the new seasons of these incredible championships, and in this video, I'll break down each and every one of them. So this is a beginner's guide to everything that you need to know about each manufacturer and their respective prototype cars that will race in the Hypercar and GTP classes in 2025. For the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, the GTP class will feature 13 cars racing in 2025, but 2 of those entries will only race part-time. And each car will be represented by 6 different car brands. For the World Endurance Championship, the grid will see at least 18 cars racing across the season, and each one will be represented by 8 manufacturers. Unfortunately though, for 2025, we do lose 2 car constructors from the previous grid. One of those is Lamborghini, who will not return for any WEC activities next season. And they'll be joined by Fraschini, who also won't return with their Tipo 6 LMH Competizione following the ceased partnership with the now former operator Duquesne. With Isotta not returning, this also does mean that for the first time in history, the Hypercar class will not see any boutique manufacturers on the grid for a full season, with Van Wall also choosing not to return in 2025, and Glickenhaus ending their Hypercar program altogether back in 2023. However, even though we do lose entries from Lamborghini and Isotta Fraschini, we gain more cars on the grid, which I'll get into in a moment, and both series of the WEC and IMSA will get an entirely new manufacturer in Hypercar, which is Aston Martin, which will debut their new Hypercar this year. First up on this list is Acura, who will return for the 3rd year of the modern GTP class. The brand, which is a subsidiary to Honda, will make a comeback with the Acura ARX 06, but for 2025 they will only compete in IMSA, and will become one of 2 brands not expanding into the WEC for this year. Acura's car is based around the LMDH regulations, features an Oreca chassis, has a hybrid component, and continues to use a 2.4-liter twin-turbocharged V6 engine. For 2025, there will be a team switch as well, with Wayne Taylor Racing moving on from Acura, and former IMSA champions Meyershank Racing taking over, as they return to the North American Series to run 2 GTP entries, badged as the number 60 and number 93 Acuras. Next up is Alpine, who will join the WEC grid once more for their 2nd season with this specific prototype in the Hypercar class, but for the 2nd year in a row, Alpine will not enter IMSA. The A424 is built around the LMDH regulations, and like the Acura ARX 06, it will continue to use an Oreca chassis, has a hybrid, and the car will continue to be powered by a Mechachrome 3.4-liter turbocharged V6 engine. Once again in partnership with Signatech, the French manufacturer will bring 2 cars with the numbers 35 and 36. And coming off of the prototype's first podium at Fuji in 2024, the entire squad of the Alpine Endurance team will now be looking to take their first win with the A424. As I mentioned before, new to the Hypercar and GTP competition in 2025 is Aston Martin, who will finally return to prototype racing for the first time since 2011. Aston Martin will enter their new Hypercar into both the WEC and IMSA, and they will be the first manufacturer to bring a Le Mans Hypercar into the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, as they will enter the series at the 12 Hours of Sebring event, with the car known as the Valkyrie LMH, and the British prototype entry will make its competitive debut at the WEC season opener of the Qatar 1812 km in February. Now, as it says in the title, the Valkyrie will be based around the Le Mans Hypercar regulations, and it doesn't have a hybrid component like many other entries on this list. I can also assure you that the Valkyrie will definitely produce a loud sound across the track, because it features a Cosworth-built 6.5-liter naturally aspirated V12 engine. The cars across both series will be run by the American squad, the Heart of Racing team, and this squad has been an integral part of the IMSA championship in the GT Daytona classes for many years. 2 Aston Martin Valkyrie LMH cars will race in the WEC and at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and they'll be using the numbers 007 and 009, while just one car will race in IMSA, and it will be using the number 23, and this entry will compete in all rounds of the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. Moving on, and like Acura, BMW will also enter their 3rd year of the modern GTP competition, and they will return to both the WEC and IMSA grids in 2025. The German constructor will once again bring their M Hybrid V8, which is based around the LMDH regulations, uses a Dallara chassis, has a hybrid component, and is powered by a 4.0-liter twin-turbocharged V8 engine. Like in years before, BMW will bring 2 full-season entries to the IMSA grid, with longtime factory squad Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing running the number 24 and number 25 cars. And over in the World Endurance Championship, Belgian team WRT will once again enter 2 M Hybrid V8 entries into the championship, which will use the numbers 15 and 20. For 2025, we will see some changes at Cadillac, but the American squad will thankfully continue to race in both the WEC and in IMSA. Their car, which is based around the LMDH regulations, will once again have a Dallara supplied chassis, use a hybrid system, and feature the 5.5-liter naturally aspirated V8 engine in the back of the car. The thundering Cadillac V-Series R will once again be heard and seen across all rounds of the IMSA season, but there will be an additional car on the GTP grid compared to last year, and the entries will be operated by 2 separate teams. The Action Express Racing team under the name Whelen Cadillac will once again return to IMSA with the 2023 GTP title-winning number 31 entry. Meanwhile, the 01 Cadillac from Chip Ganassi Racing has disappeared from the grid, as the former Cadillac team Wayne Taylor Racing has replaced Chip Ganassi Racing, and will return to the GM family to run 2 cars across the season, badged as the number 10 and number 40 cars. And hopefully the team will find success in the series, like they did when they operated a Cadillac entry in the DPI era. Now, over in the WEC, there is another new team running Cadillac entries, as Hertz Team Jota will switch to a factory-backed team, and will run 2 Cadillacs in 2025, badged as the number 12 and number 38 cars. The team, now known as Cadillac Hertz Team Jota, will in fact though leave their original role as a customer team running Porsche entries, which means we will see less 963s on the grid. But on the plus side, we will see an additional Cadillac racing full-time in the World Endurance Championship. Meanwhile, the defending Le Mans winners Ferrari will return to the Hypercar grid in 2025, and they will bring 3 of their 499P entries. But while they will return to the WEC, the Italian car constructor won't expand into IMSA, as their focus is primarily on the WEC and the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Internally, there aren't any changes to the car, as it continues to be based around the Le Mans Hypercar regulations, has a hybrid component, and features a 3.0-liter twin-turbocharged V6 engine. Ferrari will be looking to get win number 12 on the board with the 499P at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and they'll be looking to win the championship as well. Now, there won't be much change in the operations of the 3 Ferrari 499P entries, with AF Corsa as the team assisting with the management of the cars, with the yellow number 83 Ferrari once again remaining a customer car, and the number 50 and number 51 cars being the factory entries. Moving on, and after the recent departure of Lamborghini from the WEC, there became uncertainty over the Italian manufacturer's future in prototype racing. But thankfully, Lamborghini will return to IMSA to race the SC63 in 2025. As for the internals, Lambo's prototype is based around the LMDH regulations, is the only car with a Ligier chassis, has a hybrid system, and features a 3.8-liter twin-turbocharged V8 engine. When it comes to Lamborghini's prototype racing program, they will focus their entire attention on IMSA, and won't race at all in the WEC, mainly due to that new 2-car mandate rule implemented into the WEC for 2025, affecting Lamborghini's plans. Although the Italian car constructor will only enter the Michelin Endurance Cup rounds, which will include the Rolex 24 at Daytona, which was an event they missed out on in 2024 as the SC63 made its debut at Sebring. But unfortunately, just one car is confirmed to race in 2025, but that could change with the operator of the Lamborghini entries still unconfirmed as of this time. Heading into their 4th season in the Hypercar Championship, Peugeot will be hoping for better success in 2025, as they enter 2 factory 9X8 hypercars into all events of the series. But unfortunately, the French manufacturer will not expand into IMSA for 2025. The newly updated 9X8 continues to be based around the Le Mans hypercar regulations, will feature a hybrid component like before, and has a 2.6-liter twin-turbocharged V6 engine. Once again, the number 93 and the number 94 cars will be run by Peugeot Sport Total Energies, and the established manufacturer will enter their 2nd season with the new version of their Le Mans hypercar. The most successful brand in hypercar and GTP in 2024, Porsche, will be back in 2025 and will enter multiple cars into the WEC and IMSA. The reigning champions of GTP and the most recent drivers' champions of hypercar will return with the 963 prototype, which continues to be based around the LMDH regulations, has a chassis supplied by Multimatic, has a hybrid, and is powered by a 4.6-liter twin-turbocharged V8 engine. Porsche will once again bring 4 cars to the grid in IMSA, with 3 separate teams running the entries, while 3 cars will race in the WEC full-time, with 2 teams operating them. The established German manufacturer has also confirmed to bring another Joker upgrade to the 963 in 2025, which will primarily focus on the suspension. Once again in IMSA, the 2 factory 963s using the numbers 6 and 7 will be operated by Porsche Penske Motorsport, while JDC Miller Motorsports and Proton Competition both return to run privateer cars. Quick notes on the customer entries in GTP, as JDC Miller was initially looking to run an additional car in IMSA, but that doesn't seem to be happening, at least for the start of the season. And meanwhile, Proton Competition will indeed return with the Mustang Sampling number 5 car, but the entry will unfortunately switch to only competing in the Michelin Endurance Cup rounds and won't race at events like at the one at Laguna Seca. Over in the World Endurance Championship, with Hertz Team Jota switching to Cadillac machines, Porsche Penske Motorsport and Proton Competition remain the only 2 squads running 963 entries. The factory number 5 and number 6 cars will once again be entered, with a 3rd Porsche Penske entry likely coming for the 24 Hours of Le Mans like the last 2 years. Meanwhile, the customer number 99 Porsche also returns for all 8 rounds of the season from Proton Competition. Last but not least, it's the reigning world champions Toyota, who will be looking to defend the winner's trophy in the WEC, as they will return in 2025. The Japanese car constructor will make a comeback with the GR010 and will race in the World Endurance Championship and at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, but they won't race in IMSA at all, as the famous car brand has outlined their intention to focus on the WEC. The Toyota GR010 will continue to be based around the Le Mans Hypercar regulations and will feature a hybrid component as well as a 3.5-liter twin-turbocharged V6 engine powering the Japanese prototype. For the WEC in 2025, Toyota will bring 2 cars, badged as the number 7 and number 8, and once again, the famous team Toyota Gazoo Racing will operate the cars. So that completes this beginner's guide breakdown to all the manufacturers and their entries that are set to compete in Hypercar and GTP for overall victories in 2025. Out of all the 10 manufacturers that are ready to race in these championships, which one will you be rooting for? And as always, make sure to let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like endurance racing, definitely subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because I'm releasing videos on a weekly basis regarding the WEC, IMSA, Intercontinental GT, and much more. To watch more content now, check out these suggested videos I've put on screen. For now though, that's all from me. Thanks for watching.